like to differentiate here would be in between your secondary food and your primary food. So the food that is actually on our plate that we think that we are craving for is a secondary food. The primary food encompasses a lot of circle of life, which basically comes to your finance, your relationships, your exercise, sleep pattern, stress, and many more things. And sometimes because of an imbalance in your primary food, they could actually lead to a craving in the secondary food. So for example, you could be eating completely the right food the entire day, but in the night around by 9 p.m. once you're back from work, you may crave to eat a pastry. Now it may not just be a simple craving, but actually it may be because you've had a long day at work, which is quite stressful. So basically you're not being able to balance and actually arrest your stress levels, and that leads to craving. So hence it's very important to actually differentiate between your secondary food and primary food and get to the cause without being judgmental about yourself. That would help us to actually deal with the craving in a better way. Second important thing would be lack of water. Now when you're dehydrated, it can actually lead to extreme cravings. In fact, a lot of times you could actually be thirsty, but you think you're hungry. So it's like a false hunger. Remember that thirst is the late indicator of dehydration. So the idea is to actually have your water every 1 to 1.5 hours. And thirdly, also people who sweat more actually also tend to sweat a lot of electrolytes, and hence they crave for high sodium foods. So again, it's important to understand those cravings. Another important point would be that actually comes with your yin and yang balance in terms of your food. So in traditional Chinese medicine, you actually have the balance of yin and yang. So for example, if you eat foods which are high in sugar, that falls under your yin bracket, you'll automatically crave for more foods. You crave more meaty foods that come under your yang balance. Then the other reason for cravings is nostalgia. Sometimes we just want to relive the moments, and we usually associate everything with food. Another important reason for cravings is also lack of nutrients. So let me give you a better example. So when you eat a lot of processed foods, actually, it depletes your body's natural vitamins and minerals, and this deficiency can actually want you to crave more. Lastly, you can also face cravings due to hormonal imbalances. Now this can be during when you're PMSing, or it can be during your pregnancy because of an imbalance in the testosterone and estrogen balances, but they're still not cravings that actually make you want to eat for two. Right? So it's very important to understand these cravings. Now since I've already covered what are the different causes of cravings, let me tell you how do you actually deal with it. So first important point would be to acknowledge your cravings. So remember, whenever you're in denial, that means you're giving the power away to the food. We actually have to empower ourselves and make a decision to eat a certain food that might be bad for you, but you still will not feel guilty about it. Because we all believe in, doing 80% of the right things and 20% being naughty, right? We can't be serious all the time. So it's also the same thing happens also in your foods. So importantly, acknowledge your craving. Secondly, actually deconstruct your cravings and see in which bracket that falls. And lastly, take appropriate action to deal with the craving. Another important two things that I would actually like to add in order to deal with your cravings is, firstly, remember the only things that crave in your body are your taste buds. Okay, and you have complete power to train your taste buds. Second important thing is a tip that I tell all my clients to do is every 6 months give up something that you truly love. It could as simple as be as your caffeine. Now the whole idea is just to drop this for a brief period of time, because that enhances your willpower and again takes the power away from the food. So you no longer give into your temptation. It's a very simple and important way to deal with your cravings.